Hello, everyone. This is Jackie B. Peterson, and welcome to the next lesson in Best Beginnings. I want to remind you that we're teaching you how to start your successful solo business using the Better, Smarter, Richer method. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about who is your customer and knowing your target. Okay? Let's begin. Who is your target customer? This is a real question that we have. And in order to identify your target, it means you have to talk about someone who is most likely to buy from you, someone who has considered or wondered about your offering, someone who has done an internet search for your services. You have to think about who you want to approach as you develop your marketing plans. We all worry about this. We've got the business started, we've got our idea, we've got it formed, we've created our LLC, we've opened our bank account, we're pricing our product, but then we begin to think, how am I ever going to sell anything? Who am I trying to target? Who's my customer? How do I know who to sell to? So what I want you to do is think about the possible attributes of your ideal customer. With whom do you see yourself working? With whom do you see yourself interacting? When you put different features and benefits into the design of your product, who did you see benefiting from those elements that you put into your product or service? I talked to a lady just yesterday who is getting her scarf manufacturing business up and running right now. She's developing silk scarves and scarves out of a wool silk blend. They sound absolutely beautiful. And we spent some time talking about who is going to buy these scarves? How do we reach them and how do we focus on them? Who are they? So here's the question I asked. Do you have an actual picture or a mental image of your target customer? Maybe they're people with whom you've interacted in the past that led you to develop or start your business because of things they said or needs they expressed to you. Maybe they said such things as, I could certainly use whatever it is, or I have looked high and low and I cannot find anyone who, describing a service, or maybe they said, wouldn't it be nice if there was someone who, these conversations may have influenced you to start your current enterprise. Maybe you heard these thoughts enough that you thought, aha, I can see that there is a need for this, that is something that I know about. Here's a way for me to make some money. So many of us are overwhelmed by marketing because, as we've talked about before in earlier webinars, we kind of get the feeling that we have to market to everyone. And that is simply not true. We see so much big company marketing on our television, we think we have to be exactly like that. And the ideal concept for us, our solos, is that we market only to those who are most likely to buy from us. I know that sounds silly, but it's really true. Why offer your products or services to those who have no interest in them? Yes, you may want them to know something about you and what you do, and there's definitely the chance that they may know someone who will buy from you, and they will pass your name or information on to that potential valid customer, but that should not be the goal of your major marketing efforts. For instance, if your business is all about basketball, there's not a lot of sense marketing to baseball teams. Let's target. See how we've shot at the target with our marketing efforts here? Identifying your target market helps you focus your activities towards those most likely to buy from you. That means you're not wasting your time or your energy or your money. You want to put your product or service offerings in front of those who are most likely to be buying and interested in buying what you have to offer, or considering it, or thinking about it, or understanding how it might fit into their lifestyle. There's a lot of old conventional wisdom around marketing. And the old conventional wisdom was have a product or service for everyone and you will never lose a sale. The 21st century wisdom says offer exactly the product or service that is your best to the exact person who wants or needs it. Your scarce resources are time and money. And actually, as we've talked about before, your time is more scarce than money. So where and how do you want to spend your time? Why, of course, you want to spend it on doing what is most likely to make you financially successful and creatively satisfied. Target marketing helps you do that. Target marketing helps you have many more successful and happy interactions with clients because you are both getting exactly what you want, the right product or service, and the right approach, and high quality. The high quality and the differentiation are, remember, what allow you to have your price higher. Here's a story, my own experience. I recently needed to make some changes on my website. I told the person who I hired exactly what I needed done and by when. I had a very tight deadline. Unfortunately, she worked on other parts of my site and continued to do so no matter how many times I asked her to deliver what I needed. I recognized that the work she was doing would be valuable, but only after the critical work was finished. She never listened, and we missed the deadline. This is a very unsatisfactory outcome for both of us. Eventually, I got what I needed, but with a high degree of frustration. I was not the target client for this supplier. She really did not value and understand what I was trying to get at and what I needed. As I say, eventually I got what I needed, but boy, was I frustrated. We won't work together again.
Jackie, I think there's another hidden message in this story.
Yes.
And that is the need to use your ears as much as your mouth when you're marketing, and to understand by listening to your potential clients what it is they actually value, rather than you telling them what they value. And you'll be a much more successful marketer, I think, if you can listen very, very carefully to what potential customers are saying they want.
Amen. Susan, I was always taught that nature gave us the lesson, and that nature said, look at your face, 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yeah.
You're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk.
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of funny, but as I got older, I realized that that's really true and a huge secret to success.
Yeah.
So, as Susan said, if you can learn what your client wants and expects, you can expand your work to the next project. And if you've done wonderful work, you can charge more money, which is what this is all about, right? We are usually happy to pay for excellent work done in a timely manner with no hassles. Error-free, hassle-free, all the time. So let's describe your target. Who exactly will buy from you? And what we want to remember is that maybe the person buying the work is not the person with whom you will work. Maybe you'll be like our avatar, Barbara. Remember, Barbara is developing a consulting business where she is going to help students who need to score high on the ACT, SAT tests. And she's working with high impact situations. In other words, high school students who need to score high enough that they can overcome maybe some bad grades, or they can get into the college of their choice. Let's talk about her for a moment. Even though Barbara will be providing the services to the high school students, the ones paying the bill for her services will be the parents of the high school students. So Barbara has to be sure to market to the parents at least as much, if not more so, than to the students. The parents are her target, not the students. Here's some other examples where this happens, that the person with whom you are providing services, you have to be very careful who that is and figure out who exactly is your target. So what if you're offering your services to small law firms that have difficulty collecting their receivables from clients, and as a result are starving for cash and running their businesses off of an expensive line of credit, or worse yet, the credit card? If this is the case, you want to figure out how to get your message to small law firms. Perhaps you plan to make presentations at the small firm section of the bar. You would sit there and you would say, where do my clients hang out? How can I get myself in front of them? Or here's another client situation. Maybe your target clients are nonprofits who are expanding or seeking funding and need to be sure that all new board members and officers are aligned around their specific vision. If the nonprofits are your target, perhaps you plan your marketing efforts to get in front of executive directors of nonprofits. Perhaps you can make a presentation to fundraising directors or board chairmen. You know, there's an organization of just about every type of group, whether you are an internet cafe provider, or you are a group of executive directors, or you are a group of small law firm managers. There's usually a professional society who would love to have you come talk. Seek them out and go talk to them and talk about what you do and what services you have to offer. Maybe your target client is the producers of TV and radio commercials who need a great middle-aged voice to be the voice of their activities. If that is the case, you direct your marketing to ad agencies who produce such TV and radio commercials. See how you get in there and do this research? So our next slide is a form to help you think about your target client and exactly who they are. We want you to describe your target. Okay? So here's put down some specifics about age, gender, income, living situation, location, work, education. All of these things play into making somebody a target customer for you. And what really is nice is if you give them a name. All of these clients that we just talked about are clients I've had, because these clients were trying to get, these entrepreneurs were trying to get hired by the specific persons they identified, and they simply do not need to market to everyone. They need to market to exactly those people who are the right clients for their services. I like to remind you again that if you are fearful of marketing, that only McDonald's, Walmart, and Coca-Cola need to market to everyone in the world because they offer a globally recognized product. They need to reach all 7.2 billion of us. The rest of us can do much less and much more specific targeted marketing. I often call it surgical marketing, and we're going to figure out who is our target and market to people who are most likely to buy from us. Okay, so customize this target market worksheet to fit your needs. For example, maybe you're targeting parents of infants, and if you are, be sure to include that in your description. Or if the level of education of your ideal customer is not important, but physical ability is, alter the worksheet so that it works for you. We can see here what Barbara did. She's got her ideal customer as the parent of targeted high school seniors. Gender is not relevant. Income level, a middle class income level. They have their college-bound high school seniors. And maybe there's as much as 30% of each senior class who are targeted high school seniors.
I think the interesting thing about this too, Jackie, is that she has described both the people who will be receiving her instruction and the people who will be paying for it. I mean, they're both in here.
Yes.
She's talked about both of them, not just one or the other, because they're both relevant to her marketing.
Well, you can imagine if the high school senior loved you, but the parents didn't like you at all, you probably would not get hired.
Yep.
And if the parents thought you were great, but the high school senior couldn't put up with you, your parents might take pity on you and find you somebody else, especially if you weren't going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Notice we put a photo of an ideal customer on the worksheet, because that'll help keep your message personal and will keep your language and vocabulary and tone able to match your idea of an ideal customer. If you give your ideal customer a name, that will help you bring them alive as well. Be certain to give thought to the last entry on this worksheet. How many people are in your target group? If your services are truly unique and well-focused, even a small target group can keep you in business. Also keep in mind that some services or products can be delivered widely, even internationally. Can yours? But if the group is too small, beware that you've given yourself limited options for success. Let's see how Barbara would fill this out for her coaching business. We took a look at it. This is the work that Barbara did on her worksheet, and she keeps that in front of her, particularly with the picture of what a couple might look like. That helps her, as we said, talk to the right person and the right time. And she's very interested in doing that and knowing exactly who she should talk to. So now she knows who her target is. How is she going to find them? A wonderful thing to remember is that it is likely that your target is also looking for you. That's one of the things that has happened with the expansion of the internet. We automatically seem to go on the internet and start searching for the things that we're looking for. One of the internet books that I was reading on how to be successful on the internet said, if somebody is looking for you under a general term, they're probably a browser. But if somebody is looking for you specifically, they're probably a shopper. So this is the more specific you can get, the more likely it is that the target is going to find you and find your site and find the work that you are doing. Using your web tools will help those who are looking for what you have to offer to find you. Think carefully and research what words your potential customers are using when they search. This is the basis of search engine optimization. Make sure your website is full of those commonly used words. That will bring the searches to your site. Work carefully with your webmaster. Learn how to take advantage of web-based tools. Make sure you keep your site updated and interesting. Talk with your webmaster to be certain that you use standard web search technology on your site, like keywords, meta tags, and other SEO. That will help bring your site forward quickly as people search for the kind of services you offer by using your keywords. Again, be very clear about who you are seeking. If you tell someone who you are seeking and they try to send someone other than that to you, okay, you've told them you're looking for X and they send you Y, go back to the drawing board with them and try it again. Talk to them and say, I would like to remind you, this is the kind of client I am looking for. I so appreciate that you sent me a referral, and it wasn't exactly the type of client that I need. So here is in detail who I am looking for, and I would be thrilled to continue to have your referrals. This is part of the power of a precise and strong, unique value proposition. It can work for you, making sure that you get the clients that you want. So again, how to find them? We worry about things like this. I had a client who was a parent-child therapist. Her specialty is working with families and children. When she was seeking to rent space for her new practice, the therapist who held the master lease tried to send her a married couple who wanted marriage counseling. My client thought hard about it. Here was the offer of essentially free money, clients she would not have to find herself. But then she thought about the consequences. If she took these clients, it would naturally lead to more marriage counseling clients. This is a true statement. One thing always leads to another. But she wanted to do parent-child counseling. She turned down the marriage counseling work because it was the wrong work for her. This made her think hard about her practice and the type of client she wanted and her unique value proposition. It made her get even more clear about what she was looking for. She worked hard and practiced her unique value proposition so that people listening to her would know she wanted parent-child relationship jobs, that these are the kind of projects for which she was looking. She put it in her unique value proposition. And, you know, there's an old saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. The same is true with your marketing. If any job or client will be just fine, then it doesn't matter what you get. You can, you know, whatever shows up is what will happen. But if you are looking for things that are specific, because those are the ones for whom you can do a good job and the ones for whom you will not be a commodity, then what you have to do is be very specific about what you offer and be very specific about the types of projects that you want to take on. Okay, here's some more advice on how to find those target clients. Start with those who are buying from you already or who are already fans. One of my clients recently purchased a chocolate shop. She got an outstanding opportunity from the previous owners who wanted to retire. She has worked for that shop part-time for years, and it was the previous owners who approached her to consider buying it. After reviewing records and negotiating a very fine price, she made the purchase. Because she had worked there over the holidays for several years, she already knew a bit about the customer base. She knows who buys the product, and she's begun making plans to build her clientele by expanding upon those who will buy from the shop already. But she is doing it in a very organized way. She is tracking how many people respond to various promotions. She is talking to those who come in, and she's getting input and feedback about why they come, what additional products they would like to see, and how she can improve service. She is gaining a very clear, specific picture of her target and her best clients, and she is going to develop very specific ways to approach those who are going to buy from her. And not only buy from her, but bring their friends and help make the store successful. So she is doing exactly this, what we're recommending here. She's starting with those who are buying from her and are already fans. Here's some more ways to find your client. After every interaction, review the engagement. This is kind of, you know, we talked about that we're forming our business in the way called plan, do, check, act. This is check. We've delivered our service, we're doing our work, and now we're going to check with our clients and make sure that we are delivering what they are expecting, and we are going to shape our business to meet their expectations. And promise yourself you'll not work with anyone who's not a good client for you. Not all clients are good clients. So make sure you know the attributes of your good client. Know what it takes. Review each interactions you have had and acknowledge what worked and what could have done better. Commit to constant improvement in your product, services, relationships, and approach. Just keep getting better.
And Jackie, I think that last statement that you made, you'll not work with anyone who's not a good client. I think working with someone who's not a good client is just as bad as doing the wrong work. And, you know, I think as you start out your business, you will kiss a lot of frogs and see if there's a prince inside. And sometimes you make a mistake and you think there's, you know, this is going to be great, but it's not. And I suggest that that is where you review the engagement. And because you want to be on the lookout for anything that is going to keep you away from a good client and keep you away from the right job.
Yes, Susan, and it's part of that one thing leads to another. Mm-hmm. It just seems that if you do the wrong work and you're working with the wrong client, that the people that they refer you to are also the wrong work and the wrong client. Mm-hmm. When you get into this negative downward spiral with it,
Yep.
And it's hard to get out of when you've gotten into it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're better off to not do the work that is the wrong work for you. Just like our therapist, you know, if she had taken that marriage counseling engagement, she'd have found herself, you know, 6 months from now doing a lot of marriage counseling. And she'd have said, wait a minute, I did all my studying and all my work to be a parent-child therapist, and I'm doing all this marriage counseling. Where did I go wrong? And if she tracked it back, she would find out that it was basically that she took that first job because, you know, people will advise us, take the low-hanging fruit. And, you know, I've heard that enough and have seen what happens when people go down the wrong road enough that what I like to say to them is, beware the low-hanging fruit. It's still hanging there for a reason. You know, it might be rotten. It might just be overripe.
That's brilliant, Jackie.
It might be the wrong stuff.
Oh, that really is a great image. I think I'm writing that down.
What I've learned is we tend to take these wrong clients and wrong jobs because we're in scarcity thinking. We're scared and we need money now, and we can't wait any longer. And so we take something on that we know that we shouldn't, and you know, it turns out to be just a mess. I learned in my accounting firm that the person for whom you are trying to do a favor is the worst client that you will ever have.
Exactly, man. Amen to that. Amen to that.
So
they will put you through the ringer.
Yes, they will. Yes. So when a person who is not a good client, especially if it's somebody that you know in advance is not a good client, approaches you, say no. And we're going to talk more about the power of no a little bit later in this session because it's such a big deal. Okay, cultivate your target. Tell customers how important and special they are. Tell customers why you have been targeting them. And let your target know how you can benefit them. I always say it not only takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to grow a business. Why? Because you're trying to develop this business right now, and you're trying to develop the services and the products that give your customers exactly what they need. Make sure they know what makes them perfect for you. They may be, you know, you might know that you're perfect for them, but let them know why they're perfect for you. These are times when you can talk about your education, your research, your specialty, your work, and ways that you serve their needs. These are times to talk about the decisions that you made that resulted in the services or approach or package of services you are offering. I talk often about why I've chosen to focus my work on solopreneurs. It's a very important market. It's a growing market. It's something that I'm passionate about, and it's a place where I believe I can bring my talents to bear and really help people make a difference in their lives. Those are all good reasons to choose solos at a target market as far as I'm concerned. If possible, engage your clients in helping you make your business better and being better able to serve their needs. Actually, they will tell you more of their needs and what they are looking for if you ask. And it's better for you. They can help you shape your business being even better than it is now, because that's one of our goals, is to keep getting better. So here's some of the things you can do. Ask for referrals and make your request very specific. When you ask your referral sources for more referrals, ask for exactly what it is that you are looking for. Maybe you say something like, I have found that my best clients are, or I have found that my business works best for those who, and give a description. That way you can be even more certain of getting to the right people. Asking current clients for referrals is one way to ensure that you're approaching the right people. Often we're nervous about doing this, and I'm going to say, get over it. Today, everyone knows that referrals are the lifeblood of small business. Give you numbers again, there's over 27 million small businesses. There are over 30 million solopreneurs. We know as a society how important small businesses are. We know that referrals are the lifeblood of small business. And that is why we have such services as Yelp and Angie's List, so that you can get referrals and people can learn a little bit about you before they hire you. So ask for the referrals. Here's some things you can say. I have loved working with you on this project. Can you help me find more clients like you? I had a client who used exactly those words to a project manager of a very successful project that he had done. And she had never thought about referring him on until he said that. He said exactly that. Can you help me find more people just like you? And the next thing he knew, a week later, he had a list of people that ran types of the same type of businesses she did. And she sent him that email list. And she said, these are people that are in exactly the same situation that I am in. They hold exactly the same role in their company. And I think any one of them would be interested in talking with you. Wow, isn't that great? Here's something else you can say. Our work together has been exactly the kind of work I love to do. Do you know others who might like to work with me on similar projects? Clients love to be asked, and it gives you a perfect opportunity to hone your message and let people know again exactly what you do. This concept of asking for referrals links into the known fact that people usually know others like them. Once you have a client who's been great to work with, it's more likely that they will know others who are exactly like them. So why do I call this surgical marketing? Well, this is the age of mass customization. People are now shopping for exactly what they want and need. Everything you can possibly imagine is out there on the web. So why not get exactly what you want? Not something that's been designed for something else or as a stamped out product that everybody gets. So get something that suits you and is exactly the combination that you are looking for. In addition, although you're unique in your approach, experiences, and talent, you have to be found, and you want exactly the right person to find you. This means that you have to articulate exactly what you offer and for whom you offer it. It's no longer good to just be a writer. You have to be a writer of children's books, and even beyond that, children's books that focus on stories of nature. You cannot be just an SAT coach. You have to be a coach with 40 years of teaching experience who works one-on-one with students to help them overcome their fear of tests, increase their confidence in what they know, and not only learn the material, but master test-taking techniques. This is how you use your unique value proposition to help you find and focus on your target customer. Use all of those words on your website and help so that people who are searching for you can find them. Now, I've talked a few times about mission creep. If our therapist had taken the job in marriage counseling rather than parent-children counseling, she would be in mission creep. And mission creep means that you are taking your work outside your specialty. You're working with customers who are not your target, and you're providing services that are not your best work. Let's talk about that for a moment. As I said, if the therapist had taken that work, it would likely lead to more jobs in marriage counseling. Would that be okay? Well, maybe. It would be work, but it would not be her best work. It is doing your best work with your most likely clients that where you will be the most financially successful. When you are doing your work in your field of expertise and experience, you're doing your best. You want your customers to know that they have hired someone who is really good, really knowledgeable, and really educated in the area they hired you for, and who has the skills to work with them in a way that is effective for them. You do not want to be known as someone who is a generalist. Remember, a generalist is someone who is eventually shopped on price. Of course, you have deep general knowledge, but you use that general knowledge to provide better, high quality, specific service. When you go into a scarcity mindset and take work outside your area of expertise, you send out confusing messages to your target customers. You muddy and blur your identity. When people are confused, they move on. No one takes the time to figure out what you are best at. Often, opportunities are lost. Believe it or not, there really are customers who just aren't right for you. And even though you may want to take every job that comes along, not all jobs are right for you either. As tempting as it may be, especially in the early days of your business, you need to stick to your mission and avoid loosening your hold on what you've worked so hard to establish. Now, mission creep is not the same thing as looking at your overall business mission to see if it needs refining or reshaping. Mission creep is more about staying on track and always doing the work you do best for the clients with whom you work best. Mission creeps happens when you stray away from that mission. If Barbara decides to coach pre-law students on the law school entrance exam, probably she is straying from her mission. She needs to think about who she wants her customers to be and who she can serve best, and then pursue that group and not others.
And the other thing about Barbara making a switch like that is that her customer base changes radically when she pursues those other people. I mean, she can't use the same message for both groups. They're so radically different.
And Susan, what would happen is by the time somebody's in an LSAT situation, you're probably not selling the parent. You're probably selling the student.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So the whole language has to change, and the urgency becomes different. And what it's not clear that her high school experience is helpful to these people. So it really would be a radical change if she decided she would move into that area.
So I get asked this question a lot when I'm talking about this, and and telling people to stay on track. What if I really need money? What if I really need money now? So, sometimes when you're feeling really poor, you're better off to take work part-time at a job outside of your focus than to do work that is not your best and will not take you where you want to go in the long run. In other words, your day job needs something that is not associated with what you're doing and what you're trying to build in your enterprise. You're like budding Hollywood actors. They often support themselves by waiting tables, work that is totally separate from their goals. That way, they know what their day job is just that. It's a source of cash and not an alternative career. Taking the wrong work inside your general focus area is like an unmarked detour. You can get away from your purpose and have a very hard time getting back on track. Remember the therapist who said no to marriage counseling because she wants to work with children and families. She was setting her mark at the very beginning. No, she said, I want to work with children and families. And then we have Barbara, our avatar, who stuck with her plan to work with high school students preparing for the SAT, ACT test, and not pre-law students preparing for the LSAT. Saying no is powerful. I say that saying no to the wrong work shapes you, and saying yes to everything is scarcity thinking. When a customer asks you to do work that is not the right work for you, say no. You do not have to do everything that comes your way. I was recently talking with a group of solo attorneys, talking about their specializations that they have and encouraging them to stay on track. And one of them quipped, yes, when we don't stay on track and we take any general work that comes along, it's known as doing door law. You do whatever comes to the door. Wow, you're no longer a specialist. You're no longer going to, command high fees when you do that. Maybe the ask might be coming from an old customer, someone who's asking you to do something that you no longer do, and they don't know about your new focus or your new career. So I'll give you for instance, in my own life. I changed from being in the financial services and having a CPA firm to business consulting, and particularly to consulting with solopreneurs. Even though I made that change over 20 years ago, I still get asked to teach in the CPA accounting realm. If I say yes, I am definitely in mission creep. And I did say yes, which is what caused me to learn this lesson again. The result of saying yes is that I did the work and I got paid, but did not do my best because I no longer stay current in the field of accounting or CPA type activities. What happened was I got some money in my pocket, but I hurt my reputation because I was not at my peak, and I confused people about what I do now and what I do best. So the money that I got hurt me rather than helping me. So there's consequences of saying yes to the wrong work. So when you say yes to the wrong work, you are blurring the boundaries. You're not doing your best work, and you're inviting more wrong work. When Barbara says yes to pre-law students, several negative things happen. One is that she blurs those boundaries about what she does and where she's spending her time and focusing her expertise. Also, she needs to go learn how to teach the LSAT test, using up some of her precious time on what is not her primary business. Also, she does not give her clients her best in coaching realm because she just isn't current on that LSAT information. She isn't keeping herself appraised of the small nuances and the updates and tests. Also, she's inviting more wrong work. One thing always leads to another. If you go back and look at your own career and your own client experiences, you will see that that is true. One thing leads to another. One connection leads to another. So if you put a wrong connection in the chain, they're very likely going to take you someplace you don't want to go. So Barbara's LSAT engagements were likely to lead to another LSAT engagement. Even though it will be okay, it will not be great. And people seeing her work will not be impressed because it's good, not great. She wants to be seen as great because it is great work, not good work, that leads to high-end referrals. Barbara wants her work to be the work she does the best. And so do you. Saying no sets boundaries. No clarifies who you are and what you do. No means that you are staking your claim to expertise in a specific type of work, and you will not be swayed into scarcity thinking and mission creep. There's a subtext going on here. Saying yes to everything means that we don't believe that we'll get the right offers. We think we have to take whatever comes along because we're not in charge of our own futures. It is succumbing to the belief that we cannot create what we want. Wow, that's a powerful statement, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Saying yes to everything means we have no boundaries. It means we do not really have a specialty, and we are not clear about what we are really good at versus what we're just okay at. I want my clients to hire me for what I do best. No door law, okay? I don't want that happening. I laughed when I heard that, and I thought how obvious this must be that there's even a term in the vernacular talking about that, because people get into scarcity We worry about not getting the right work. We're not sure we can create our own future that we want. So we wind up being in door law. And I'm going to say, no, no, no. So let's talk about what makes a good client. A good client pays their bill on time. They don't argue over price. They respect your time. They refer you. They ask for your advice or your opinion, and they take it. So remember, not all clients are good clients. It is okay to fire a client when the relationship is not working for you. What I have learned is that if the relationship is not working for me, it is probably not working for them either. There are no one-way streets in this stuff. So the vendor-client relationship should be mutually beneficial. Your time is too precious and your talent too great for you to squander either working for those who do not appreciate you. A good client plans ahead, they acknowledge your work, and they tell you when they have a problem, not telling others. They tell you. Consider setting criteria for a good client and reviewing the transactions at the end of each job. Take 10 minutes and say, was this a good client? Was this a good job? Do I want to keep working with this person? Did they pay their bill on time? Did they take my advice? Did they acknowledge my work? Did they send me referrals? Did they listen to what I had to say? It could be that this is, every time you review that this person is exactly what you want in a client. And in which case you add their attributes to your target description and ask them to help you find more clients just like them. If your review of them is negative, then the next time they want to hire you, you say, I don't believe I am the right person for you. And you may refer them on to someone else. Eventually, you can get perceptive enough that you can recognize a bad client early on. Sometimes they begin arguing with you before you've even figured out what the project is going to be. And so you learn not to get involved with them in the first place. Before you even outline the project, you say, I don't think I'm the right person for you. Just don't, get involved. Someone who argues with you about your price or your approach or your delivery schedule before you've even begun to work together is likely to be a poor client. I say life is too short to work with difficult people. So let's work on directed marketing, or surgical marketing as I called it earlier. Now I want you to open worksheet number 5. This worksheet will prompt you to think about where to put your marketing messages and how to word them for the greatest appeal. The more you know about your potential clients, the more strategically directed your message can be. For example, if your customer is a solopreneur like me, think about what drives and motivates a solo. Now, I've done a lot of research on this topic, and I know that creative solos are driven by their desire to be recognized for their talent and to be financially successful doing the work they love. I know that encore solos are driven by their wish to secure their retirement funding, to be self-reliant, to give back, and to make money doing what they love. So here's our directed marketing worksheet. This is an example of the kind of information that you might want to know about your ideal customer. Don't forget that this information needs to be analyzed. In its raw form, it doesn't give you the marketing method or direction, but you can certainly come up with some creative ideas about how to reach your target market based on their leisure activities. So let's see what Barbara would say. Her target is parents of high school students who want their kids to do well on the ACT and SAT tests. They might hang out at parent-teacher conferences, or they might be meeting with school counselors or with college placement counselors. They might be parents of kids she's already worked with. Ask for referrals if that's true. They might be volunteering in the community, and perhaps they're participating in school graduation planning activities. That was a big deal when my kids were graduating from high school. Maybe they read the school newspaper or the local neighborhood newspaper which is not an expensive place to put an ad. Now you need to work on discovering the same sort of information about your target customer. Enter your findings in worksheet number 5. This will really help you. You know, knowing it in your head is different than writing it down on paper. Writing it down on paper nails it. You will appreciate that. So your question might be, now what? Take what you have learned and turn it into action. Test what you've learned. Compare your actual good clients to your avatar. Are you correct in your assumptions, or do you need to adjust your target? Any sharpshooter is always testing. They're testing for wind and range so that the shot hits the target. We want you to be a sharpshooter. You're aiming to be a sharpshooter so that your market efforts constantly hit the target. This takes thought, review, evaluation, and possibly shaping and adjusting who your target market is and how you're going to go after them. How do you test your assumptions? Well, here's some ideas. Do an exit interview with your clients. Ask, did this work meet your expectations? Ask, what could I have done better? Ask, was it appropriate? Was it timely? Did it meet the mark? Ask, will you refer me to others? If you are blessed with an outstanding referral source, be sure to thank them profusely. As you have probably identified by now, marketing is a very big part of any solo business. Targeted referrals cut your marketing time in half. You might say to your referral sources, thank you for your referrals. They are always excellent clients for me. Can you tell me what you say about me so that I can use those words in my marketing material? I have actually said that to my clients. You know, sometimes we think one thing about what we're doing and how we work and what we deliver, and our client hears and perceives it in a totally different way. So in our work to deliver marketing around benefits rather than features, what a great thing to understand how our client perceives the work that we are doing for them. Ask them. They will really be happy. The more you can hone in on exactly the right work and the right client, the better your business becomes. And the greater your joy in mostly doing the right work for the right people and being well paid for it. So stay close to your great clients. Send them newsletters and articles of special interest. Acknowledge them. Build a positive relationship. The reason you have target clients is so that you can focus your marketing efforts, saving you lots of time and energy. You can use that time and energy to keep getting better at what you do. Once you have your targets and your great clients, you want to keep them. It is many times less expensive to sell an additional product or service to a previous happy client than it is to secure a new one. So financially, repeat clients are great. Build systems to automate keeping in touch with these clients. Develop a database. Send out free tips, newsletters, things that will be of interest to them. If they are a really good referral source, then be sure to remember important dates such as holiday cards or perhaps acknowledgement of birthdays or important milestones. Send a note when you see them recognized in the paper or when they have accomplished or achieved something. Send handwritten thank yous to them for their continued business. I have had clients who say, you know, I have gone into one of my clients' offices and found hanging on a bulletin board, still revered, a handwritten note that I sent them 6 months ago. That is how important and the value of a handwritten note. Handwritten notes can just be tremendous. The handwritten thank you notes support continued business and build a client-customer relationship. One of our local very successful women's clothing stores sends out handwritten thank you notes to customers all the time. The tactic has worked. They're extremely successful with an ever-growing loyal customer base. Remember, it's all about positive relationships. The more you stay front of mind with your customers, the more likely they are to use and reuse your services and recommend you to friends. Okay, this is a time for questions if you have some. I know I'm putting a lot on your plate, so please ask me for clarification or ideas that will help you. Any thoughts?
I also want to say that I know this goes by very, very quickly, and there's so much information in here that I strongly recommend that you look at the replay of this webinar online and go to the parts that, you know, were tough for you and listen to them again. Because, I mean, I do that all the time when I'm taking webinars if they have a replay, and this one does, and that's great.
That's a really good idea, Susan. I know we're covering a lot of material, and many of our listeners are brand new to business. So listening again to the replay is very, very helpful.
Yeah, yeah. And I am not seeing any questions. So everybody understands everything. No, can't be. Yes, it can be. But I would strongly suggest that if you do have, oh, Evelyn, I only have 2 handout sheets. There were only 2 for webinar number 5. There were only 2 that you need to fill out for the today's webinar. So that should be all you have for today's webinar. Of course, there were more for previous webinars, which you should have as well. But I'm just going to assume that you're talking about today's webinar, and in fact, there were only 2. So you have everything you need for filling out the material. Can you give us Jackie's email again? Jackie?
Sure.
Do you wish to do that?
I do not mind.
Okay.
It is Jackie B, JACKIEB, at JackieBPeterson.com.
I will write that down for everyone. Jackie B at Jackie B Peterson.com.
Right.
Okay. Jackie B at JackieBPeterson.com.
Great. Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, I'm going to look forward to talking with you next week. And we're going to continue with our discussion about marketing and moving forward. So I want you to tune in. We're going to talk about speaking the language of my customer and surgical marketing. Keep working on your worksheets. Unless you do the work, you're not going to see the results that you want. So we can't just listen. We have to do the work, which is why we're giving you things to do. This is pretty intense, but it's why we're giving you things to do. Thanks a lot. Have a great week. Goodbye.